West Virginia beats UCF in a senior day classic. The seniors won, but we, the fans, lost in this one. This is Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what is up, guys? Happy Saturday to you. Happy college football. Only one more game left in the year. It's hard to believe that outside of the conference championships and playoffs. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the podcast, Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Brought to you by FanDuel, guys. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So a few takeaways here. First of all, I'm happy for the seniors. I feel like they earned this win. Guys like Garrett Cole, Wyatt Milam especially, Nick Malone, Jaquay Hubbard, I think he's a senior. I'd have to go down the list and look for sure. Brandon Yates, Brandon Yates may be a junior. Livingston, guys like that. Over on the defensive side, obviously you got TJ Jackson, Garnett Hollis. There's a ton of guys that are seniors. Unfortunately, Aubrey couldn't play today. That was sad to see. And others. I have to get that out of the way first because despite my selfishness and our selfishness, none of us are happy, I don't think. I think it's fair to say that another year of Neal Brown is unacceptable. And today's outcome only helps that. So if you're in the fan seat, you're in this weird spot where you want the seniors to win, you want these players to win, you want to win, but at the same time, you know what a win could do. It could bring back the guy that nobody wants outside of like maybe a couple people. There'll be like two people, maybe three. Drumwolf, is it Drumwolf? No, Bass Hunter. I'm sorry, Drumwolf, not you. Bass Hunter, Casey Leg Enthusiast. Like I can name them out loud. People in my comment section that are probably going to be on the Neal Brown train, like wanting him back or being mad that I said this. But this is my take, man. I think that all this did was it's what Neal Brown always does. He seems somehow he snatches defeat from the jaws of victory in a lot of, especially when it comes to us. If we need Neal Brown to do it, he don't do it. No matter what it is. If we need him to choke, if we need him to choke, which is like almost never, but the one time we need him to, he does. He doesn't, bowl eligible. That's important, I think, because whoever the next coach is, or even if it's Neal Brown, you always want to have bowl eligible. It sets your program back massively when you don't have bowl eligibility. So I think the bowl eligibility, listen, I know nobody wants to hear this. I get it. But we have to prepare ourselves for the small chance that Neal Brown's going to be back, right? So we want to be bowl eligible if that's going to happen because we're going to need to get certain players ready for next year. I think it's a good thing that they're bowl eligible. I think it's a good thing the seniors won. I was happy to see that, but I was in a strange place today, and I texted with dozens of people. There were people in my comment section. I posted a question to X that I'm going to read you guys the answers to. Okay? So I said, is this game ruined for you? And are you feeling conflicted on who to cheer for, yes or no? No, and it's telling that you even asked this question is the first one I see. No, I want wins regardless of who the coaches are, or in this situation, never rooting for L's, just for a new coaching staff. Always want the dub? No. I'd never shoot for WV to lose? No. I will never root against our guys, but losing does have major upside. No. Yes. Somebody said yes. Real fans never cheer against their team, period. I've resigned myself that for now it's okay to just enjoy the game for what it is. Nice background entertainment. I guess maybe it's okay to not have so much invested, but then you see KU and CU and it's like, exactly. I never thought I would root against the Mountaineers, and here I am. I'm rooting for UCF. I'm halfway rooting for UCF, to be honest, but deep down, I want West Virginia to win for the players. I just feel like if we win and get bowl eligible, we'll be stuck with Neal. It's purgatory. I can't enjoy the game. That's what it comes down to here. I can't even enjoy the game. Wow. I never thought I would be here. Now you need 6 or 7 wins to give some kids some practice in. Hoping for UCF adjustments in the second half. Like, it's pretty split down the middle, right? It's pretty split down the middle. Pretty wild, man. So here we are. Here we are, guys. We're in a spot where this guy that we all want gone may end up staying. There have been a lot of rumors coming out since yesterday, by the way, that he's probably gone anyways. I just haven't bought into him yet because I haven't gotten any from the people I trust. I haven't gotten anything yet. So there could be people out ahead of this. But I seen somebody post earlier that kind of is known for posting dramatic takes, I guess you could say, that Ren Baker has gotten permission from the board to fire Neal Brown. I haven't heard that personally. So yeah, it's wild. I think a take I saw somebody have today is if Ren Baker really needs, and I said this yesterday too, I think, but if Ren Baker really needs these last 2 games to figure out the Neal Brown tenure, then I question his judgment, right? Now, if he needs these last 2 games to justify keeping him, that's a whole nother ball of wax, in my opinion. But if you can look at the situation and say that this is it for us, then I question your judgment. I would say we missed on our AD if he believes Neal Brown is the guy. Now, I will say this. Neal Brown is a 500 coach, right, guys? A little bit above 500. I think it's a valid question in this day and age to ask. I think this is what a lot of people outside West Virginia would say. Can you get better than Neal Brown? Now, on the surface, everybody wants to scream, yeah, of course we can get better. But can we in this day and age where it's all about money, right? Even Signetti had more money than us this year in the Big Ten. I think it's a fair question, and it's something maybe we all need to think about just for a minute, because Neal Brown, while at 500, can we get a better coach? Jimbo was 500 in the SEC with the best, with the very best of amenities and money. What would he do in the Big 12 with some of the worst? I think it's a valid question. Nobody wants to, talk about that. By the way, you guys know I'm vehemently against Jimbo. I've got so many numbers on Jimbo; it's insane. Like he lost to 2 FCS programs in the last 3 years. He was a coach there at Texas A&M. He had a losing road record in the SEC. He lost to Vanderbilt while he was there. Like, there's just a ton of stuff. But anyway, I don't think Neal Brown should be safe. I think that, like I said, this is my take. I feel like these last 2 games, it should have already been decided. Now, maybe we've just been fed that info. Maybe it's already decided, but I think if the team plays well at Texas Tech on the road, I would have to say, man, I don't know then. Somebody in the comments, Koo says Jimbo would bring in better talent than Neal. With what, though? With what? Like with the magic wand, with the budget we have, like we can barely afford to hire the next coach. So I think I just question it, man. Like he couldn't win with better talent at Texas A&M. He won at Florida State during a time where you had years to develop players, and you could get them to to the level you wanted them to. He never really fared well in this new era. At 60 years old, 59 technically, I do question Jimbo and if the times have kind of passed him by now. And I just think there are better younger coaches out there. Even the guy at Arizona State, like somebody like him, I think would be better for us. But yeah, but he hasn't been a winner in a long time. It's been 11 years. It's been as long since we've been a winner. So he was 45-25, but he was 500 in the SEC and had a losing road record by a lot. So I just I'm not sold on him. I don't think I haven't been sold on him for a long time. I've got more numbers. I'll do an episode on it if I haven't done one in a while. But I do have guys that I favor. His offense is another thing. It's antiquated and needs changed, which they made him, and then he hired Bobby Petrino, who runs a version of the same offense. I found that to be kind of funny. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, guys, what's next? Obviously, we're in a spot here where Neal Brown has won this game and stayed alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. That's what I was thinking of today. So what's next? What can we hope for? Well, like I said, I just see something come across. There's rumors saying that Ren Baker has been given the go-ahead to, say, fire Neal Brown. Let's investigate that on the other side of the break, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode is brought to you in part by Z-Biotics, guys. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct and not dehydration that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I don't drink, but I can tell you how to use it. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Then drink responsibly, pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. And then enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready for your day. Go to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege at checkout for 15% off. That's pretty dang good. And we're back here on Locked On West Virginia. Here we go, man. So a lot of rumors saying that Ren Baker has been given the go-ahead by the Board of Governors to fire Neal Brown. And I went ahead and shot a little tweet to somebody, just a little peep from them, see what they say. And there apparently is some smoke to that. Now, I don't know how much. I don't know to what ends. I think this is developing right now. Interesting that it's happened, It seems like everybody's tune changed after those comments were made. If you'll remember, I had to go on Kuz's show, and I think the night before he had made these comments. I can't remember exactly when they were done. I think it was the UCF preview, right? And then Neal made the comment of, well, at least we're not 0-10. Seemed pretty harmless, but it made people really mad because he's in this place of scrutinization. And it's funny because Mike Osty, Chris Anderson, both started saying, hey, he's in a bad spot here. And then you watch three guys the very next day, and here they are, Hoppy saying there's no way he comes back at 5-7, and he's still teetering at 6-6, 7-5, 6-6, 5-7, all different outcomes. I think 7-5 he probably stays, right? But still, I still probably think that, but maybe not. Maybe it's decided. Maybe they really thought about it and decided, like, yeah, everybody's too unhappy. The stadium was empty today, but here's the deal. It was empty because of the weather, partially, I think. I mean, that's being fair, right? Let me fix this hat. I think it was partially because of weather, if you want to be fair about it, because it was nasty outside. It's cold. It's raining. And I just want to be fair. Anytime I go down these roads, I try to stay in the middle, because it would be easy for me to say it was empty out there tonight. You see the effect Neal Brown's having on this fan base. And yeah, sure. I think that's a huge part of it too. But it's somewhat has to do with that weather too. Just want to be fair. Always want to be fair on our criticisms here, guys. But I do think that it's at least 60-40 today, right? That stadium was empty partially too, and those ticket prices. You mean to tell me you couldn't fill it up a little bit more when there were tickets for a dang $1? Some people was like, look, it's a principle. I got this ticket and I don't really want the money for it, but I at least got to get $1 for it. That's how some people were thinking. So here we are. West Virginia, if they come open, will be by far the best job open. There's not a Power 5 job open, and people say less than 5 will be open this year because of this new era we're going into, this new era of revenue sharing, which is why most people think West Virginia is so hesitant to make a change. It's because you're going into this unknown era with a brand new coach. You could theoretically put yourself really far behind the 8 ball unless you hire a coach that is already dealing with this stuff, right? Because it's going to be the first year for everybody anyway. So if you bring in a new coach the first year you have revenue sharing, as long as he's dealt with the portal before or has coaches that have, you should be fine, in my opinion. Now, if it's a guy that's coming up from the FCS or group of 5 level, then I think you have to question it. Everybody deals with it, but it's on different levels, and there's different levels to the money. There's different levels to the level of recruits you have to get. And just like with Neal, one of my big criticisms of this staff is I feel like with some positions, they've never gotten out of trying to look for quote unquote gems instead of just going for the best player available in certain spots. For instance, man, we had a Power 5 transfer available. If you guys watch a show from about a month ago, Coos knows this to be true. I don't know if he's still in the comments or not. J.J. Roberts, he plays safety for Marshall. One of the best safeties in America right now. Lighting it up, had several 10, 12 tackle games for them this year. I had him in my comments for weeks saying he wanted a scholarship offer from West Virginia. They offered him a walk-on, even though he started for those really good Wake Forest teams. Instead, they go down and get other players, like Aiden Garnes or whoever. Like they went and got Garnett Hollis, but he's a corner, really. They went to other group of 5 places instead of this Power 5 guy that was available. And I just felt like that was a bad choice, and it's proven to be true. And that's my point, though. They were, I don't know, just some of their recruiting methods didn't make sense to me. And you look at a guy like A.J. Jackson and his philosophy on recruiting, man, he really knows how to recruit defensive line for us and has done such a good job. Just like Chad Scott has been able to recruit the running back position like nobody else. and I feel like Coons did a good job at linebacker at times. But man, has this staff really missed at wide receiver? This staff has missed so hard at wide receiver for years now. We haven't had a good like a number one wide receiver really. I don't even consider Bryce Ward Wheaton a true number one. Like he had some pretty good numbers, but he had so many drops, and I mean I can think of the Pitt one just first and foremost. But other than that, Virginia Tech he had drops. They missed so many. Winston Wright, guys like those guys left, and they never brought that quality receiver back in again. I thought Day Farmer may be that. I think Justin Robinson has the potential to be that, but I don't know if he'll get a chance to now because of everything that's going on. But it's time, man. I just think that hopefully there's some smoke to these rumors here with Neal Brown. I'm still trying to look around on the X app as the show goes on because this stuff moves rapidly once it gets going. Somebody put, if Rimbaker is truly looking at Neal Brown's entire tenure, there's no way that he finds these results acceptable. This is absolutely nothing that supports him remaining employed. There should be 0% chance that he returns in 2025. That's how I feel. I do like this video right here of Neal and his family on the field singing Country Roads after West Virginia's win over UCF. I got to tell you, man, it's choking me up a little bit because I think we forget. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm not really supposed to share my screen sometimes, but if you want to see something that'll kind of just humanize Neal a little bit, stick around because what they did after the game is kind of cool. This is Locked On West Virginia. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel, guys. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to live by. Bets and everything, and it's all in one place. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page you place your bets. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet, guys. Remember that. Just go to FanDuel. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. And, of course, this episode couldn't go on without Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Thanks for being a valued Prize Picks partner and an experienced creator who understands your audience best. We're looking for you to help the most compelling ad possible, so make sure you do that. Win 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Put their members first, guys. They really do. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When it hits, you can get your money as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you pay $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50. Make sure you go to prizepicks.com, guys, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Make sure you go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege, guys. So something I just kind of saw that I wanted to show you guys. I want to share my screen with you. This is playing over on X right now. This is Neal and company after the game with his family. And I just wanted to pull this up because, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's a family man, and while he's a very rich man, sure, absolutely, he's got it all. He's got a pretty wife, he's got beautiful kids there. I just wanted to point out, this is a man and his family we're talking about, and then sometimes I forget about that. My criticism. I just wanted to, point that out, guys. That's all. That's all. Not trying to be too overly dramatic here, but uh, he's a human being. That's all. Not definitely not saying change your mind on Neal Brown. Still want him fired and gone and everything, but it's rough. Somebody had posted something about Jimbo, his record. I'm trying to find that. Everybody loves to post that 85 and 25 record. That's such a it overrates him to really just a high level. It really does. Look what he did at Texas A&M. He was 45 and 25. Then look at his SEC record. Then go look at his SEC road record and see how far under 500 he was. It was not good. He lost the teams. He lost the FCS teams twice in his last 3 years. He lost to several bad teams in the SEC. It wasn't like he was losing to the best. He was really listen. He had the number one. Some people say in 2022 the number one recruiting class of all time, and those guys are playing other places now because he just didn't work out. I just don't think everybody wants this guy to return to West Virginia and it to be a great homecoming. And I'm just saying, at 60 years old, I think the game's passing by a little bit in this era. If you could still develop players over a 4-year span, I would absolutely take him. 100%. Give me Jimbo. If you're telling me it's back to the way it used to be and you can recruit players and you can develop them over 4 years, I'll take Jimbo 100 out of 100 times because he's elite at that. But in this portal era where you've got to pick players out of the portal that you didn't develop and place them in your lineup, he wasn't good at that. He was 46 and 25, but check his SEC record and check his road record. It was terrible. Just as bad as Neal Brown's. And he did that with the very best, Jay. The very, very best. The number one budget in the SEC. He had the best recruiting classes. He had everything. It's not good enough, man. And I don't think it would be good enough for us when he's going to have the least of everything. You want him, the guy that was a loser on the road in the SEC and lost to FCS teams, Vanderbilt, teams like that, to come to West Virginia where he's going to have 100 times less than that? It makes no sense to me. And somebody try to make it make sense. All people ever say is what his record was. Almost that entire record was done when he was at Florida State, and you could develop players over 4 years. I don't know why people can't get that through their heads. Football is not that anymore. It's just not. People pay for players, and the best get the best. That's why Caleb Downs is at Ohio State right now. They could spend $20 million on their roster. That's why he was picking off a 10-0 Indiana team today, because Ohio State said, hey, we want that Alabama player. Let's give him $7 million or whatever it was. It's just not the same. So, if you could tell me that Jimbo would bring more money, NIL, okay, maybe I consider it then, because it's not like on the other side of the coin. If I'm arguing against myself, I would say this. The level of coaches aren't as good as in the SEC. Absolutely, that's true. The level of players aren't always as good either. But I also think that there aren't as many valleys in the SEC as there is, or in the Big 12 as there in the SEC. There are teams in the SEC that are just slam dunks for some teams. It's getting better, especially the last couple of years, like Vanderbilt and teams like that have gotten a lot better. But when Jimbo was there especially, oh, yeah, you could count on wins at Mississippi State, at Vanderbilt, teams like that almost all the time. And maybe Mississippi State's a bad one, but, yeah. I never said I would. You're saying the thing about the G5 coach, Luke. I never said anything about it being a G5 coach. I personally think if you're going to give me my choice, oh, man, I should do a show on it, to be honest, but I have a lot, but I mean, if you're going to give me my option, then give me Glenn Schumann, the defensive coordinator at Georgia. Like I said, they've got a history of success. You look at what the former Georgia coaches have done, from Dan Lanning to others now that are just really, really good. That coaching tree from Kirby Smart and Nick Saban is extremely good. He was the first hire ever for Kirby Smart there at Georgia, and he's apparently just an elite recruiter as well. So I think that would be – I want a defensive-minded head coach, whoever it is. You know, I don't think Gruden would translate JDK. He runs one of the top – you look at anything John Gruden has ever done, he's obsessive. He spends like if you go research John Gruden, because I'm a super fan of John Gruden, he's an 80 to 100 hour a week guy, and I don't know if college players would match his level of intensity. And I just have a big questions on John Gruden and whether or not that he would transfer to college level because of his intensity, number one. Number two, his playbook's just way too hard. If you tried to get a college player to memorize the playbook that he runs, good luck. It's like Sean Payton. It's like Andy Reid. It's like those kind of things. You don't have enough time to teach it like you're supposed to be able to teach it. John Sumrall was literally Neal Brown's number one assistant coach, Michael. So I think he's a lot of people are starting to figure out that maybe he was the reason Troy was so good because they were there together. A lot of people say it's because of Sumrall. But not only that, I think it's just too close to Neal, Michael. Somebody in the comments said John Sumrall. I just think that he's too close to Neal for people to pull the trigger on. I know that's maybe not great logic, but that's just my opinion. I think people would look at that and say, yeah, he's too close to, Yeah, it's not a comparison to me because you're factoring in the Florida State, Michael. You're factoring in the Florida State. The college football wasn't even the same then. It's like comparing Rich Rod's record at West Virginia to if he had to coach here now. Like he got to recruit 2.5-star players, and he got to develop them over 4 years. And then he just had a program going then at that point in time. In the portal era, you have to recruit a player now that you've never played with and plug him in and hope he's going to adapt to your style, to your locker room. There's just too many factors are different. So if you think college football is the same and that coaches that won during that era are not that some can't do it in both, but I just think that old coaches that have fallen in this era of college football, it has a lot to do with the development part of that, and which is why you see guys like Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer, Chris Peterson. I can go on. Guys like that are elite coaches that are out of the game because they don't want to come back to what it is now. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it. Neal Brown won, but I don't think you should stay. I'll be doing more videos on the topic as we go, especially when we hear more about the rumor out there that maybe he's still going to be gone anyway. I want to substantiate that before we say there's legs to it, but maybe there is. Until then, guys, you know what it is, and it's over, and I'm out.